Record. Mic trigger.
Hey friends, welcome to Driving Your Own Vision, belated video,
8:36 p.m.
whatever you want to call it.
Watch face. 8:36 p.m.
I'm basically going to do this video in two parts because this is actually, I've called this series steering away from your own goals, but I'm going to kind of have a little rant, really. I did the last episode last week. It didn't upload. I forgot to do a post midway through, so you're getting your post tonight about the new series. So, unfortunately, I'm starting the whole series off with a bit of a rant, basically. So I am sorry, but if you get educated by this, then I'm sorry for that too. I'm basically apologising for educating you and doing the video at the same time. Now, also, the vlogcast which we did about 3 days ago, which is also coming out midway through the week. So I apologise for that too. So the rant that I'm going to make is literally, some of you are asking, why did you not go on about getting rich quick? Well, for those people, those people are trolls, and I'm ignoring you. And the reason as to why is, is because there's no such thing as getting rich quick. And the whole point is to see where your own vision is, see where your own goal is. And everyone was saying, well, you did episode 3, but midway through episode 3, you said, and they were jumping to another episode, by the way, where they said, and I haven't scripted and should have, which is why this rant's going to be pointless, but they literally said, partway through that, they said,
Mic trigger. Mic lock. Button. Mic lock. Mic lock. Button is on. Finish recording. Mic lock button is on.
Yeah, partway through that, they said, how can you let go of how can you use your imagination as a tool for cutting corners? I never said that. I never, ever said that, losing your imagination could be a good tool for cutting corners. I did not say that, and it was a very different episode. So please go and watch. In fact, I'll even do a community post pointing you trolls towards the episode where I did not say that at all. So you can go and watch that episode if you want, but please watch the first 2 episodes. I've said it again in my first series before you come back. Then come back to this series, right? Because I will not engage to any trolls whatsoever, right? Now, obviously, to the rest of you, right, that are watching this, I'm sorry again, I've started this video with this little bit. But another part, in fact, actually going back to the Get Rich Quick videos, right, which I made, I said I was not making another episode on that. Somebody else, right, DM'd me, my page, my Ball Mac and Hill Productions page, and said, right, quote unquote, I deleted the message, by the way. They said, I want to get rich quick. How are you going to make me big money? Right, this is what they're saying. How are you going to make big money through procrastination? Again, wrong episode. So, again, that's why. And procrastination is a tool, right? So I'm saying it's very, very quickly. But again, it will hold you back. Cutting corners will hold you back. So this episode, right, I've started it off with a rant. And I'm really, really sorry. Oh, and by the way, right, there is a book that people pointed me towards. I've seen this book on Amazon, right? This book has been written by a teen, right? By a bunch of teens. Because this book, I've been told by a lot of people, will steer you in a different direction. And this book was written by two teens who were, in fact, they were really great at the time. They were really great entrepreneurs. But the reason they became really great entrepreneurs was because they didn't cost a lot of money by making this book. But what other people did, this is what other people did, they started reselling the book at ridiculous prices. They even started selling this book at BitTorrents, right? I can't remember what the book, The Life of Me, is called. And I'm not interested in it, because that's not what I promote. It's not what I do. And I am not all about cutting corners. Well, I am and I'm not. A bit of a politician's answer for you, but again, I'll do a video outside this series as to why. Personally, if you're going to make it, you have to do the long route. Now, that could be going to school, going to college, then going to uni, and then getting a job. But going to uni is not going to, I mean, technically, if you are in the system, right, which I know a lot of people are, so this is kind of clearing up the rant a little bit. This is kind of, if you're in the system and you want to get a job or you want to get somewhere in life, I'm going to make a video about all this properly. But my advice is, okay, so if they're telling you, if you are on benefits, the law says that you have to go to college if you're 16, right? But when you're 18, right, the benefits rules, or the rules regarding to you on benefits, whatever, when I was around those age, but it still classifies it, what you have to do now, when you're 18, you have to go on a course. Doesn't matter what course it is, you pick a course, you go on it. You won't be guaranteed anything, but you go on a course and you stick to it, right? Now, I personally would do a course that, yes, you're interested in, but do it for a couple of years. If you want to go into radio, don't do the music tech course. I'm gonna do a full-blown video on this, but yeah, just don't do that. Do a journalism course, do an English course, do a maths course. Don't bother with the uni, just get enough experience behind your belt, and there you go. But a lot of people, when they leave school, they want to go, they want to make money. They've seen other people do it. And a lot of people now, when they leave college, they want to do YouTube. When they leave school, they want to do YouTube. And where do you think they go? Where would you think what course do you think they go into before they go to do YouTube? What do you think a lot of YouTubers, a lot of the serious YouTubers, do you know what course they do? They do creative media. Well, I've said to a lot of people, right, to do YouTube, you don't need a course. You need to grow. But if you are serious about YouTube, you know what course you should go to? You should do business studies. Now, you're all going to turn around and go, blah, blah, you don't need business studies. You don't need business studies, right? Okay, if you are doing this seriously, if you want to make money at YouTube, right, that's where you go. I don't make money from doing what I do on YouTube, right? But if you are serious about turning your YouTube channel into a business, that's what you do. You go to a business course, because a business course, you do business studies, and you learn how to do, you learn how to look at things as a business. Helps. And also helps to do a creative marketing course too. And it also helps to look at people as money. Because when you come in, I was talking to Big Phil. I don't really mention him that much on my channel because he doesn't really like being mentioned all that much. I don't know what I got told off a month ago. I don't know what it is. I'm not a business, right? I'm a YouTube channel that does what I do. When I do the other stuff for other people's channels, which I have done, which they're making money from me making content for them, I don't ask for royalties. I just ask for a mention. I just also ask a mention on their channel. A mention on their channel is pretty nice. And that's all. I don't ask for any money. I've said this, I mean, even I don't know, even some iTunes vouchers or something like that. But really, technically, I don't really want money from other YouTubers. If I'm on their channel, that's fair dues. But I don't really need the money off other YouTubers. I've said this in lots of... And people are shocked. No, well, that's not how I work. How I work is this, right? If you want to pay me real money, well, we'll talk, right? And we'll go through the proper channels. But I don't do YouTube for money. I do YouTube because it's what I love to do. I do YouTube because it's a way of sharing my thoughts and feelings, whatever. I do YouTube. In fact, do you know the very first behind the scenes video I did was a way I tried to do... The thing was, I wanted to kind of get away from vlogging because I did the weekly vlogs and they were pretty good, actually, back then. They were kind of a Monday to Friday. I mean, I was kind of copying Charlie Marie TV. I don't know if you've seen her stuff. And I kind of liked her vlogs because they were very experimental. And she wasn't vlogging the way, her vlogs were kind of her going about her day, her week, how she fits other things, how she fits life around work. And I liked that. And when I did my weekly vlogs, it was what I do as me, as Stephen Nightingale Ball, as me, as what I do. What I do outside of radio, what I do kind of outside. It kind of answered everybody's questions. What do I do outside? So I did that. But when we hit lockdown, I couldn't just go outside and film. I couldn't just walk around. I thought, this is going to be boring. So I thought, I'll film me in the office doing stuff. I'll film me in the office doing stuff, and if something crops up, I'll film it. And I'll show people. And so the first two videos focused on me, my feelings as I was coming out through lockdown, communicating to people. In fact, there were videos earlier than that when I watched them, me as me watching them, I find them very depressing. There's actually a video I do. It was a Temper radio show, my imaginary radio station. I listened to that and I thought, was I ill or depressed? I sounded very physically ill and I sounded very physically low. I sounded very sort of clinically depressed. I didn't want to do a radio show, but I did it because I love doing it. And I put it out because I love putting it out. But I learned that I wasn't in the capacity to know that I was depressed, and I wasn't in the capacity to know that I was ill. But I must have been low because I sound like I'm ill. I sound like I'm physically ill, and I sound like I'm physically depressed.
3 notifications. Bigger live. 1 minute ago. Audio locked. Status audio record.
But anyway, that's besides the point. So I did those videos and I was, but I found a good place. But I must have been in a dark place when I did those recordings. I don't remember. But I really sounded ill. And I really sounded like I was absolutely, because I just did the show and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And there was one day in lockdown that I didn't film, I didn't put on Facebook, and I didn't record. But I remember it now. And there was one day when I just thought, should I bother? Now, this sounds kind of suicidal, but I'm doing a video after this one, for tomorrow. So I kind of don't want to spoil it too much. But when I did those first behind the scenes videos, they were the change. They weren't vlogs. They were actually backstage videos. It was actually what I'm doing in work and what I'm doing out of work and what I'm doing. And technically, I was doing YouTube every day. I was doing the behind the scenes videos. I was actually finding the content for them. And then once I'd found enough content throughout that week.
Bigger live. Snowflake. 4 notifications. Bigger live. Now. Snowflake.
They were,
Video BCH.
they were sort of the weekly vlog type thing, but they were when I could find content. And the first one, which was done in a week, it was done in a week, that video. And it showed the relationship between me and Neil and me and my work colleagues. And that told a story I wasn't trying to tell a story, but I guess if you wanted a story from it, it's me and my work colleagues' perspectives. It's I just had the jab, actually, the day before I film all the videos, so it's kind of all that perspective. It's how I was doing the projects back then, because I had to look back on that video to see how I'm doing, because there's things that we're working on. So it was like a revision type thing. But the actual story was me, how I work with my colleagues, how I do my projects, and how me and Neil, how our relationship through lockdown, it's actually changed. And I'd sit down and I think me and Neil before lockdown, and me and Neil now. And it's kind of more that relationship between me and Neil through that video. Because before, Neil wouldn't talk to the camera. There's a video, one of my weekly vlogs, where Neil wouldn't come on and talk. But now, if I'm doing a YouTube video and Neil's in it, he knows he's going to be in it. He knows he's going to be on the YouTube video. But that one, that behind the scenes video, there's a real dialogue between me and Neil, which I thought was pretty good. And his reaction wasn't on camera, but it was like he was more nervous than I was. And I was pretty calm. So I was joking. And so I was joking with everybody, well, will we get back home, And so that kind of really was a great feature. And then the second behind the scenes, there's a clip with me and Thomas, and mine and Thomas's relationship. As a lot of people know, outside of YouTube, they know how me and Thomas work. So when we did that behind the scenes, and it focused on me and Thomas, and it focused on, people had seen Thomas on the Rosebank channel. People hadn't seen Thomas on my channel, and they had, but not properly. So when they saw that relationship between us, when they saw me and Thomas, and in fact it was a really good moment because we weren't arguing, we hadn't had enough of each other, we hadn't seen each other for a long while. So that conversation between me and Thomas, and me operating the camera, and me communicating with Thomas, and Thomas communicating back, I thought that was a really good look. And it was a good look for Rosebank, because you watch the Rosebank videos and Thomas doesn't really communicate on those properly. He needs prompts from Jonathan, which didn't upset me really, but kind of thought, well, I'd love to see a video where Thomas doesn't get prompted, because it makes it look like Thomas is nervous of the camera, which he's not. Thomas isn't, I'll tell you now, Thomas isn't camera shy at all. He just if he's doing something, the communication isn't, it's not there. So you have to give him those prompts. But when I was doing it with the water, and Thomas was completely verbal, that video got 30 views. And in fact, there's people who are in the care community, they've seen that video, and it wasn't, we didn't tag Rosebank in or anything. But people, you can go to that video. If you want to know what Thomas is like, what me and Thomas, what our relationship is from a first-hand view, if you will, then you go back and you watch that. It's me filming Thomas. It's Thomas, the audio from Thomas is pretty good. Whether you understand Thomas is not. I mean, you can actually read the manuscript. I've looked at the manuscript, and you see Thomas is pretty, YouTube have seemed to have worded what Thomas says pretty well. So if you don't understand Thomas, you can follow along in the manuscript. And this really, it got views. It got tremendous views. The third behind the scenes, I'm not going to go through all the behind the scenes videos. I'm not going to talk about them all, because that's for another video. But the third behind the scenes, again, showed you me and Thomas, showed you my day today. But it was more about, it was nothing to do with coming out of lockdown. It was trying to get what content I could conjure up. It wasn't till we got the 9th, the 14th behind the scenes video, and you realised that it was more about I mean, we get to the 20th behind the scenes video and you realise that it's, and so anyway, that's the whole thing. But yeah, now another thing that I want to talk about is I've done a video. I'm going to try and find last week's video and put it up next week. But I'm doing a community post. And this video is getting put up. Now, it'll come out probably tomorrow, I don't know, because it's quite long.
9:01 p.m.
And anyway, I'm going to go, I'm going to get a drink, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to do tomorrow's video. It's going to be quite sad, because I find talking about lockdown, doing videos and all that stuff, pretty, I find that I'm answering my own questions. It's like a Q&A with myself. Stephen versus Stephen, not one of my imaginary friends, me versus me. That's kind of scary, isn't it? So, another thing that people ask, they say, you know nothing about NLP. You know nothing about NLP. Why make NLPs and make them different? Well, first and foremost, NLP was made by some hipster bloke moving into the New Age movement. A hippie, basically, moving into the New Age movement. Because the New Age is kind of modernized hippies. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to get into it too much. Because it's, I'm doing a spiritual warfare that talks about New Age hippies versus the New Age versus the spiritualists. But the reason I didn't want to do NLP videos because it steers too much towards spiritualism. However, my look on that now is I love spiritualism. And I've actually found that Jesus Christ taught all the hippies. I think Jesus, what I believe is, I believe that the people finding peace will get peace when they've had their chaos, and chaos is peace. And peace is also chaos. The tranquil bit is when you've managed to the tranquil bit is something personal. I mean, peace to me, people don't realise there's the two sides to peace. There's that. I woke up this morning and I'd had a bad dream, so I heard an owl hooting right close to my window, but I could hear in the silence something. I don't know, there's something not right. was just very eerily. And that's when you know that something's going to happen. You know, if a car comes past, you're all right. You know that it's just you or whatever. But when it's total quiet, when it's total... I can't explain it. It's like the sound of darkness. It's like that stillness. But you're waiting for something to happen. You know, and I made this driving revision as a business thing, not as a because I thought kind of NLP was too sort of spiritual. And I didn't really want that to... I wasn't feeling that when I made the series at the time. I do feel that it is important to have that. But it's like using the NLP as a backdrop, if you will. But that's not a rant. I can't rant on something that isn't. But anyway, I'm gonna get a drink and get my charger and then come back down, because, yeah.
6 notification. Mic trigger. Mic lock. Finish recording. Finish recording.